What is up, everybody? It is the Retro Slasher coming back at you guys with another review here on Body Bags. This is week 126. So yes, So we're gonna review a film from the 1980s, 1981 to be exact. It's somewhat of a killer animal type film, a very obscure one that's not a lot of people ever heard of. Because I know I never heard of it until it made its Blu-ray debut, courtesy of all the video. Yeah, that actually might be this only ever release this movie's ever had, to be quite honest. But yeah, of course, that film, it is Roar. Roar is the title of this film. So, as we do first, let's hop into the plot of this thing. Basically, this movie is centered around this doctor or scientist, basically a dude who studies big cats for a living. Like, he researches their behaviors and whatnot, and also trying to save them from being poached and killed off by poachers out in the wild for hunting purposes and whatnot. Um, yeah, so he decides to fly his family, his daughter, his wife, his daughter, and his two sons out to Africa where he is living at. During the process, though, he has to leave. Something comes up revolving around poachers and whatnot, and his family arrives there without him being there. They just go in the house. Everything seems fine, and then bam, all these giant cats that had been living in the house with him and whatnot start to show up, and they freak out. They're scared, and this basically becomes a survival film with the family trying to survive and figure out a way how to get out of there, away from all these giant cats. So yeah, that's pretty much the plot of this thing. Pretty straightforward, pretty simple, basic stuff in a killer animal type movie. Yeah. So my actual thoughts on this film. The first thing I will say, this movie is extremely weird and bizarre. It's unique. It stands on its own in like cinema history, man. It's really weird. It makes it real interesting knowing the story behind this film. It's some crazy things happened while making this film. I believe it took like 12 years to make this film or something like that. But they actually used real life like tigers and lions and panthers and things like that. So there, of course, leads to a lot of actual attacks on the cast and crew members. A lot of people were hurt making this film. A lot of things you would never see in today's cinema. That's why they use CGI animals now and stuff like that because of movies like this. Yeah, so that's a really makes the movie really fascinating. Cool backstory behind it, and really interesting things to know. The actual movie itself, the story is not really that original or unique. It's pretty standard and basic, but it's decent enough at best. I kind of dug the story. It's basically just a survival film. Um, yeah. Now to the acting. The acting's not the greatest either. It's kind of some parts are really over the top, especially the mother's character. But I could kind of understand it because how would you really act if all these animals were there? I guess it makes sense, but it just seemed a little over the top at times to me. But what can you do? The doctor himself, he's a really strange individual. He's kind of weird and unique and different. He's kind of out of the box kind of guy, I would say. But I really dug his character. He's actually kind of fun, man. I really enjoyed his character. Now, as into the effects and whatnot, they're all guaranteed 100% of real effects. There's real actual animal fighting between the cats. And when the people are like jumped on or scratched or bitten in this film, it's all 100% real blood, not no fake, no bullshit. It's all real. It's the most realistic gore in a film you ever see. Which this film doesn't have a huge amount of gore, but it's all 100% real. Uh, Now, as to the other things in this film, there's some real good tension type moments in this film between certain characters. I won't say who or anything like that. I really enjoyed that aspect of it. And there's also a few heartbreaking moments in this film, especially if you're like a huge animal lover like I am and whatnot. It's just kind of some down moments in this film. I won't spoil anything like that, but you kind of can get an idea based on just what I said. So, yeah, that's pretty much the main plot things about this film. Um, as to the ending's not my favorite thing in the world. It's kind of predictable and whatnot. I kind of wanted a little bit more with that, but it's just based on what the type of film it was and the actual realness to it. Kind of would like to see a different ending, but it worked. I guess it's okay. It just wasn't for me. Kind of wish it had a different ending to be exact, but what can you do? So my overall thoughts on this film, and my recommendations and whatnot. It's a really, really pretty well made film, I guess. Not really think too bad about it. Just a little over top acting, like I said. A few down moments, which every film needs, but it's just kind of realistic and whatnot. So it's kind of thing, man. It's basically this movie kind of just like a pre-PETA message type movie, if you know what I mean. But yeah, that's raw. So if I had to rate this film, it's not the best like killer animal type movie I've ever seen, but I give it a lot of props to being like 100% real and stuff. So if I had to rate this film, I'd give it just a 7 out of 10. Yeah, 7 out of 10. It's a unique film, I'd say. Check it out. It's a real cool movie to collect to your collection and whatnot. Even if you're not like the hugest like killer animal film or whatnot, it's just a really strange, unique film that you probably have to see for yourself. So with that being said, guys, I am the Retro Slasher signing off. I will see you guys next week with a brand new review. Later.